following breaking news from the Catalina Channel. That is where a blue whale right now is trapped in a net.
Yeah, let's check in with Tim Lynn. He is in Sky 5. Tim, how does the whale look? Does it appear to be struggling in that net?
Well, it appears to be kind of working its way southbound here. It just came up to the surface a few minutes ago and got a breath of air. Now it's just hanging just below the surface. And behind it is dragging about 200 feet is a buoy line that's coming off its tail. As we come out, you'll see some little buoy line balls there right in the water. As we come out, you'll see it. There they are right there. That's what's hooked to the whale. And normally that is a crab pot looking buoy. You see that little thing on the top that has the numbers of the owner of the pot as well as the line they use to pull it up. But it's dragging that along here. It's just really struggling along. We haven't got a good look at it as it came up to the surface. It's been staying under once it goes under for about 10 minutes and is just staying just under the surface. I can barely see it with the naked eye looking out the window, but it's right under the water. Just below the surface. This should be coming up pretty shortly, but what happens is when the migration happens and these blue whales start working their way back up the coastline, they come across these buoys that are attached to either crab pots or some type of fishing pot on the surface, or on the bottom, and they hit that line that wraps around their fluke, and then they're stuck with that. But we understand now whale rescue is on their way out here to try to assist this blue whale. This is a very, very large animal. I wish it would come up while we're live here and show it to you, but when it does, we'll show it to you as available.
Oh, that's video. Okay.
Oh, there you go. There's your tape we shot just a little earlier as it popped up. Now, it's being trailed by a whale watching boat, which is keeping an eye on it. Will help the whale rescue folks come out here and get to it. But yeah, we saw this a couple times last year during the migration season, and it's just unfortunate they pick up these buoys and trap lines as they work their way up the coastline a little bit closer to shore, and then end up getting into them. So right now we're just going to keep an eye on it and see how it does. But like I said, the whale rescue folks are on their way out. This whale watching boat is keeping a close eye on it, and as we will here from Sky 5, and we'll get you some more tape of it coming up and see if we can see what kind of entanglement it does have on the whale. So let me send it back down to you in the studio.
Well, Tim, how do the rescuers deal with something like this? I mean, you're talking about a very large mammal here. It could definitely be it's a dangerous situation for both the whale as well as those trying to help it out.
Well, it's a very complex, very, very complex operation. We watched them out here 2 years ago, and what they do is they get behind it in a Zodiac with a small outboard, and they come up to the line. Well, the first thing they do when they get here is they'll put a tracking buoy on the whale and on that line that's behind him so they can keep track of where he's at. And then they work their way up the line very slowly up towards the back into the whale, and then they have these real long poles. They have these specially made knives that are kind of a button hook, as you will. They can come up to it very carefully and then slide it on the rope and then pull it back towards themselves, and it cuts the rope from the fluke or from the tail itself. They've even seen it go up next to the whale up by the fluke and get her off the fluke that way as well. But it's yeah, they get up in there and it's really dangerous for them because you're dealing with a very, very large animal here. With one flick of its tail could send everybody off that boat and the boat upside down here. He's coming back up for another breath here. As you can see, a very massive blue whale here. Get a big breath, big blow there. You can see just kind of laboring along, not really swimming hard, not really going deep.
Yeah,
so it's really a sight to see from up here. But
holding him in place.
Go ahead.
No, I said so it's attached to the tail, then kind of holding him in place.
Well, no, he's not held in place. It is wrapped around the tail from what I can see, traveling with the line behind him. And I'm trying to look to see if it's around a fluke. It's not being held. He is moving on. He or she is moving along. But what happens is that it gets entangled around him and starts cutting into the flesh, causing problems like that, as well as to, keeps him from diving down. Now, here he is coming back up for another big breath. We're looking to see if we see any netting on him. But as long as that line is on there, and with the way that little buoy that I get back on the upside the sun here so we can see it, but I think the buoy went down with him on that dive. So the way I can see the buoy there just off the left front corner, the port point off the boat there, Jeff. You can see it right there out the window. Yeah, right. Go push it right there, Jeff. And you'll see the buoys are still right there on the surface. There you go. And like I said, if you look at those buoys, you look at the top one, the little round one, that has a number on it, and that loop, that's what the number defines who belongs to that crab pot. and then that loop is what the boater or the fisherman will grab onto to pull his pot up. So just from seeing that there, that kind of tells me it's a crab line. So they'll be able to identify whose line this is, but unfortunately, it's just what happens out here with the commercial fishing going on, as well as the migration. These big animals get tangled up in it, and luckily it's not a giant drift net that's around them, which would really cause a lot of problem. But right now, it's just what this does is it inhibits their ability to dive down and do their feeding maneuvers where they open at
2,000 feet up. But how long would you estimate the distance between the whale and that buoy?
Well, I'd say about 200 feet. There's about a 200-foot line. That buoy is about 200 foot behind it. Now, that fishing boat right there is probably about 60 to 70 feet. So that whale is just about the same length and hooks that line and cuts it. And once it cuts free, the whale just takes off. And so luckily, they've increased their ability to do that, improved on their operations, and have really done a great job getting these whales untangled. But right now, he has dragged that buoy under, as well as the lines itself. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on it here and see what we come up, and if it pops back up, we'll bring you more footage of that.
All right, Tim, thank you. Well, we're going to take a quick break, then we'll come back to you, and hopefully we can see that amazing operation of releasing this whale from the netting and the buoy. Stay with us.